devotees. Today's shloka for the day is the 12th shloka of the 7th chapter. Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasastamasaschaye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai. Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasastamasaschaye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai. Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasastamasaschaye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai. Please recite after me. Ye chaiva satvika
सात्विका भावा
ये चैव सात्विका भावा
rajasastamasaschaye
राजसामसाश्रये
matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai. Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasastamasaschaye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai. Word for word meaning and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ye, all which, cha, and, eva, certainly, satvikaha, in goodness, bhavaha, states of being, rajasaha, in the mode of passion, tamasaha, in the mode of ignorance, cha, also, ye, all which, mattaha, from me, eva, certainly, iti, thus, tan, those, vidhi, try to know, na, not, but, aham, I, teshu, in them, te, mai, in me. Translation. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything
everything.
But I am independent.
But I am independent.
I am not under the modes of material nature.
I am not under the modes of material nature.
For they, on the contrary,
For they, on the contrary,
are within me.
are within me.
So the Lord is stating here that everything rests on Him, everything arises from Him, in whichever three modes of this material nature. So, since material nature consists of these three modes, Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamogun, therefore, anything emanating from any of these three gunas, Krishna says, is actually emanating from Him. But then, at the same time, Krishna is also indicating clearly to us He is not subject to these three material modes. So even though He enters the cosmos that He Himself has created, He is not subject to the laws that operate in that cosmos. The lawmaker is said to be beyond the laws. Of course, in mundane society, even the lawmakers are subject to the laws that they themselves make. But in a theocracy where the king is ruling on behalf of the Supreme Lord, the king himself is not subject to that law because the king is considered to be a devotee of the Lord and he is the topmost citizen, a law abiding citizen. Unfortunately, those days are gone. So Krishna is saying just because he enters this prison house, this material cosmos, does not mean that suddenly he is subject to those laws. But at the same time, everything that emanates within these three material modes, these three gunas. So Prabhupada writes that when we accept and when the Lord says that he is nirguna, it simply means that he is beyond the transcendental modes, that he does not come under the control of these three gunas. So that is one of the special characteristics of Bhagavan, writes Srila Prabhupada. So a few more things that we can go back to. So this is the concluding verse of a particular section. So until now, Krishna has given 14 examples of how he is the essence of things. That ultimately everything that exists is essentially the Lord himself. And all of this is present in the three modes. And all of this comes from him. But Arjuna, you know that although I am the source of everything, I am not reduced to that source. I am much greater than the source. So I am existing in everything, but I have my own distinct personality and identity. I have my own individuality. So, so if you remember the first example that Krishna gave out of the 14, Sutre Manigana Iva, that I am the unifying force, the underlying thread of everything. But that doesn't mean Krishna is just the thread on which the pearls are hanging. But I'm much more than that thread inside that necklace. So here Krishna is saying that the thread inside the necklace is not anywhere else, but at the same time, he has his own distinctive existence, which means Krishna is not just the thread that's holding everything together. He's far beyond that thread. So he is transcendental And the Lord will discuss his transcendental nature in the next verse. Essentially, what Krishna is saying, the whole is far greater than the sum of its parts. Although all existence manifests from material nature, he is the source of material nature, but he doesn't abide in material nature. Rather, material nature exists within him. So this is a very, very important point that underscores the position of the Supreme Lord, which is he is the source of Prakriti, but he is much greater than Prakriti. There's a lot more to the Supreme Lord than just the three modes of material nature that arises from.